Hey, Vsauce, Jonah here. And right now, you are watching me. But what you may not know is that some people are always watching you. So what exactly does this mean? Well, I mean, short answer to this entire thing is that you are being watched by the government and some companies who want to sell product on their sites. Now, we are also our voices are being heard, and there are multiple experiments that point to this, which I'll mention and show later in the presentation. But nothing that you ever say around your devices will likely go unheard. So when did this all start? Now, it probably has been around since around, when the personal computer and the internet, was created, because most likely what happened is the government saw that this platform is very expendable and they needed to control it in a way. So, to make sure to keep people on track still, they basically made it so they can hear and see what we do. Your search history is probably seen by other people. Just by, if you open an incognito tab in Google, it still says that it can be seen by people. It's not like you're permanently gone or anything. And on top of this, your video searches on YouTube and your Google searches are used to target advertisements for you, depending, they calculate what they think you might be interested in, and then market certain things towards you to essentially maximize the chance that you will buy something from a company. We know all this stuff based on some experiments, but we're not really supposed to know very much. I mean, we still don't know too much about if, certain evidence that the government is listening to us, but there is still evidence that points to it, as well as targeted advertising for businesses is definitely shown to have, they can definitely hear what you're saying, basically. Again, the experiment that I'll show you later proves that they even listen to fine details in what you say to, hey, remember when you said this? Hey, remember when I said I needed Altoids mints shipped to my house because I don't want to go to the store? Well, here you go. Advertisement for Altoids mints, because you said it. Now, what if you're not comfortable with people looking at your stuff and you want to get rid of it all? So you factory reset your devices, you wipe your search history, you destroy your SD cards. Well, destroying your SD cards would probably get rid of whatever's on it. But factory resetting devices, all the data that was on it can be easily recovered, and it can usually be recovered in a matter of 6 months. So, if you were doing something illegal on your computer and the police found out, they can track it to see if that actually happened. They have certain devices that they can just take all the data from your phone and download it to their thing. I'll put a picture of it right here. But it's basically a device that takes everything on your phone, and they can do that without a warrant. They don't need to be like, hey, we think that you are selling drugs using this device. This is some way to help you. So we have a warrant, and we're going to check your phone. No, they could just be like, hey, can I see your phone? Download the stuff, and then, obviously they would not always do that, but they don't need a warrant for any of that. And you can also, something that you can be charged with is illegal use of an electronic device in court, and which means that they can definitely find evidence of you illegally using devices, definitely find evidence of you illegally using your device, even if you tried to cover it up by factory resetting your devices. There's always an encryption key that can be recovered, anything like that. Now, specifically, who is doing this? So I mentioned that the government and certain businesses are doing this, but some specific companies could be Google uses their stuff to target advertisements on all the different sites. Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg was actually on trial for something like this, for taking information from Facebook's users and selling it to businesses. And then some other people who can sell stuff from businesses are hackers who can sort of how you're always warned about a public Wi-Fi network. Well, hackers can get onto the public Wi-Fi network and steal your data and sell it to businesses who want to make a profit off of you. Another big question about all of this is, why is it happening? So, many people believe that the main reason that they're doing this is because the government they just want to keep an eye on us and make sure we're doing what we're supposed to do, essentially micromanaging us and keeping us doing what they want us to do and not what we want to do. I mean, it usually falls in line anyway, but they gotta keep those few people intact. Something that I personally believe is that it also probably helps with illegal activity on the web, like, you've heard of the dark web, like selling of drugs, stuff like that. I don't know any other examples off the top of my head, but basically making sure everyone's doing what they're supposed to do, and even if they think that they are safe from the law. Now we can finally get to that experiment I was talking about earlier. So, how do businesses listen to us? So, I already said, so businesses can take your search history and your video watch time and compare that to, like, combine them essentially and take your interests from that and then target advertisements based on what you might buy. So, like, if I'll use my dad as an example because he kind of, I don't know, he's a good example. So if you search for, like, websites like Motion RC to buy model planes from, and then you watch model plane videos on YouTube, Google can take those two things, put them together, and then target advertisements for model planes to you. And this works for most anything, like video games, makeup, I don't know. But then, that's that experiment that I was talking about earlier. Yeah, this was done by Mitch Allo on YouTube, and I'll play a few clips from that, but basically it shows very convincing evidence that people, like, Google can listen to what you're saying and then show you ads based on that, like, down to specifics. Like, I'll show another clip where he's basically talks about red and black dog toys specifically, and a specific type of dog toy, and it shows red and black of that specific dog toy. It's kind of crazy, and it's mostly real. It's more likely than not real because he did it live on YouTube, although it is a little bit of an older video, but it is very convincing. I'll show some clips from that right now.
So I've written down a subject that we're going to talk about on a piece of paper. I can't speak it out loud yet because we got to do a test first, but this is the subject we're going to talk about, okay? This says North Carolina father-daughter couple in it. Okay, that's just depressing, but the sponsored content here is from Outbrain. Obviously, not what we have written on our piece of paper here. Maybe some Kongs would be good, or some plush animals for maybe some dog toys near me. Maybe some black or red ones. I don't know what colors dogs care about here. First website up. Oh my God! It's right there! Holy shit! Wiretapping? Oh my God. Let's click on that advertisement. PetSmart, Kongs. I was talking about Kongs, black and red. No way! That's insane! Oh, that's enough for me. I'm done. I'm done with the internet.
So is there anything we can do about this? Well, no, not really. So the only thing we could do is if everybody gave up their technology and we all went Amish. And I, for one, am not willing to do that because technology is a big part of my life. It's like I am using a computer and my phone to do this project, and it would be a lot more difficult to do this if I didn't have either one of these two things. So yeah, there's not much we can do about it unless we all do that, and the government could say, okay, we won't do that, but they most likely will, and same with big companies. So yeah, that's gonna basically wrap up the project. In conclusion, we are most likely being watched by the government and definitely being listened to by businesses to target advertisements. So thank you all for coming to my TED Talk, and I'll see you later.